The whiskey moon's hanging low tonight. Its silver light cuts through my fight. I told myself I'd be just fine. But every shadow looks like your outline. Oh, baby, why'd you go? Why'd you leave me in this rain? Oh, baby, why'd you go? All I feel now is the pain. Your love's a ghost, it'll haunt my veins. Oh, baby, why'd you go? Why'd you leave me in this rain? The jukebox plays a tune so raw and blue. Every note just screams of you. My heart's a guitar with broken strings, and your name's the song it always sings. I light a cigarette, but it don't burn right. I pour the bourbon, but it don't feel right. Oh, baby, why'd you go? Why'd you leave me in this rain? Oh, baby, why'd you go? All I feel now is the pain. Your love's a ghost, it haunts my veins. Oh, baby, why'd you go? Why'd you leave me in this rain? Every mile you've gone feels like a year. The clock just ticks, but you're nowhere near. I shout at the stars, they just stare back. This empty bed's a cold train track.
And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, welcome back to the darkest, very, very dark side of the podcast tonight. And thank you. Podcast, your home for rational privacy news and objectivity. Leaving emotion at the door, talking about what we like, why we like it, where we see it going. We are not offering financial advice. We are telling you what we do, and that is all. We don't slow down. We don't let up. Full speed is our only speed. I'm your host, Scott, pragmatic investor who has won and lost fortunes. Joining me, as always, greatest producer of all time, the one, the only, the original, the redheaded Bella. How you doing tonight, Bella?
You know what? I was just fine after I got back to the house this afternoon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's been a day. How are you today, Scott?
It's been a day. And you know what? I bowled like just ass last night. I shot like 165, 240, 165. And I hate it when my last game is bad, because I think about that all week. All week I'm sitting there thinking about that one. It's like, God, I just bowled, I guess. I could go 160, 160, 240 and be completely content. I'm like, yeah, it was good. I finished strong. I figured it out. I got on it. And but that didn't happen. No, I went split. The lanes changed. I didn't pick up on it and thought I was throwing good shots, and it just diving right into the head and just leaving these god awful. Like, I left 2 Greek churches. And anybody who bowls regularly knows what a Greek church is. But I left 2 of them. I've never seen one picked up. I don't think you can. So yeah, it was, but it was interesting. And then, of course, I had to go up to by 100th Street today, and that was all closed. And yeah, because I didn't know Papa Trump was coming to town. So I didn't know. If I'd have known,
I had to tell him.
Yeah, if had I known, I wouldn't have gone up there. I don't want to see it. I don't care about the spectacle. It means nothing to me. I understand why he's doing it. All right, it's politics, and this is what you have to do. But it's all of the bitter hanger honor and just people that they don't find real purpose until they can stand up there, hold up a sign, and just say you're wrong. I mean, that's it. That is their entire life's purpose, is just to say you're wrong. And you will never be liberal enough for these people. It really doesn't matter what you do. You will never be they will always move the goalposts further and further and further until we are, in fact, serfs. I mean, I think that's it. That's what they're looking for. Everyone be serfs, be happy. All right, here's your bread, here's your water, and we'll make sure you have a job, because shit always needs to be cleaned up. But that seems to be it. And these penthouse Bolsheviks and all this, and I'm just sick to death of it. I'm tired of it. I told you guys, if you get triggered easily, this ain't the show for you. We're going to go hard. Bell's going to go ahead and start us off. I see the finger up there. So, Bell, why don't you go ahead and kick it off? I'm going to sit here and drink, get a little tuned up before I do my bet. It's all yours.
You know what? Cheers to that, though. I mean,
I will for that. Cheers, Bell, for that
Cheers.
one. Let's go ahead and let's get tuned up here and say reality that people just don't want to hear. But we don't care. We'll say whatever the hell we want. You can't take this microphone away. Ha ha. Go, Bell.
And this actually, it directly impacted, apparently not just my day-to-day, but Scott's as well. I had to run out for errands today. Okay? Less than a mile from my house is Horizon Event Center, where President Trump, made an appearance today to give a speech. Prior to that, on my way to go to my appointment, okay, the Hickman Road, which is a major artery going through Des Moines all the way out to Waukee, which is a good 35-mile stretch, Scott?
About that, yeah.
About that? Yeah. They had pretty much the entire middle section of that from just past my house to the interstate closed to traffic. The reason they did this is because, apparently President Trump was going to the machine shed for lunch, and then he was going to go to the event center. So not only did the quickest route to my appointment get blocked, but it gets worse. The reason it was blocked was because of protesters. Now, don't get me wrong. You can protest, but have a plan for what you're protesting for. That's one thing. Don't just show up with big signs going "Orange Man bad." That no one pays attention to that crap. Okay, start protesting about the issues. All right. Now, the reason President Trump's speech at the Horizon Event Center, for once, was actually on point and on target. He didn't go, this way, that way, all the way out in left field, clear out of the ballpark with his speech like he usually does. He focused on economy and affordability. He focused really hard on home values and how they're rising, how gas prices are going down, and Yeah, he's trying to make things more affordable for Americans. He talked about the progress he's made since his return to office, tax reliefs that he's put in, border security, economic growth, delivered for working families. Then he goes on, he starts going into energy policies, which he's got big plans to lower energy costs to combat inflation. Good luck with that. And then again, part of his whole visit to Iowa was to speak to local representatives and lawmakers. Now, okay. I'm scanning different sources, watching for all kinds of news about this because I know already. Yeah, I knew about the stretch of 100th Street being closed from Swanson Boulevard to Hickman. That's less than a mile from my house. It's a major artery going from West Des Moines through Clive to Urbandale. I mean, it's a major roadway. What I didn't expect, and okay, so I did see several people on Reddit organizing protests of the Orange Man. Okay, don't get me wrong here. I am a libertarian. President Trump is not my favorite person. I can critique him and some of the things he's done. However, the protesters who were going out there, to do what they were doing, the ones that parked a mile and a half away at the mall or about 3/4 of the way, from the event site at Kohl's, the people who were parking along Swanson Boulevard in business parking lots. All right, they were allowed to do that. They had a plan. They had supplies to keep their hands warm. They were layered up. All right, that's all well and good. What really got me was someone was jumping on the Reddit reporting, oh, well, ICE is here staging at the corner of 86th Street and Hickman Road. I can throw a rock and hit that intersection. I drove by that intersection on my way back to the house less than 5 minutes after that was reported on Reddit. That wasn't ICE sitting right there. Those were auxiliary police officers. Maybe pay attention to the vehicle markings before you sit there and try and inflame people into sitting there and going and doing whatever they're going to do. That's also the home of the Clive Police Department. So may the odds be ever in your favor if you're going to go out there stirring up trouble. So that I have a problem with. The other thing I have a problem with, instead of utilizing parking lots where businesses said, hey, if you're going to go and you're going to protest President Trump, you can park here. Why are you parking in residential neighborhoods at the exact time that school is getting out and those routes are packed with school buses? Do you not understand that you are literally creating a safety hazard for kids? Go screw yourself. If you're going to protest, have a plan and do better. Quit inconveniencing everyone.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Is that all of your rant? Is that it, or you got more you want to get into?
That's enough for this specific minute.
Look,
sorry, I couldn't resist. I mean, dude.
Again, is Trump my favorite guy? There are a lot. No, but probably not for the reason that you think. He's not going hard enough. For me, in my humble opinion, he is not going hard enough. You only get 2 chances at this, and he's on his second chance. And you only have, his second term, you only get 2 tries at this. And when you have when you're sitting in that seat, now's the time to go all in. And it just seems like nobody is quite willing to do that. Nobody who sits in that chair is willing to do that. And this is the time to do that. You need to go hard, and you need to keep hitting the gas. You don't need to stop. You don't need to let off. You don't need to back off. You don't need to do any of that stuff. You need to go hard. There's a reason that somebody like me will never, ever get elected, ever. Because every single bill that's going to hit my desk, I'm going to take it. I'm going to read it. I'm not going to let AI do it. I'm going to read it. And I'm going to, odds are good, my response is going to be, I see no writ in the Constitution for this, and throw it away. You want to veto, you want to override the veto. Then it's on you. It's not on me. It's on you. But that would be about it. I would be the biggest poison pill that has ever sat in the Oval Office. And when I see stuff like that, when I see like what's going on in Minnesota, what happened in California, what's going on in Seattle and Oregon and all that other shit, you have no idea how swift my retribution would be, because I have the authority, not the authority, but the goddamn obligation to handle this stuff. If local, state, county, municipal, if they are not going to handle this, then I'm going to handle it. And there is a writ in the Constitution for that. And I would be all over that. And I honestly, I don't care. I say, you better never come out of the White House. That's fine, man. There's plenty of shit to do here. They got a bowling alley. I'm good. I could dig this for 4 years. No problem. I mean, no problem. But the amount of tears that would be left in the wake of the things that I do, it wouldn't be, you couldn't measure it. You just couldn't measure it. But the thing that pisses me off about them, not that people are protesting, because like you, I'm a libertarian, and yeah, you're allowed to. First Amendment says what it says. If you want to change it, if you want to change it, there's a process. All right, three-quarters of the Congress, Senate, three-quarters of the states, boom, you just change the Constitution. There is a process for it, period.
Now, just check with your local municipality and see what the laws are, regarding protests, and do it safely. That's the biggest couple of things, because every city, every location has a process.
Safely, like what they're doing in Minnesota, like what they did out in LA, like what they did in Seattle. Remember the Chaz zone? Who remembers that dumb shit? Because it's back. Because it's back. And naturally, every leader up there just goes like this, and just says, nah, go ahead, man. It's just people letting off steam. What kind of steam? It's the middle of winter. There's no steam. I would actually say, okay, it's another summer of love. We keep having those. But we always need a reason. We always need a victim. And the victim never, ever did anything wrong. It was simply the boot of authority stamping on the neck of the peaceful demonstrators, and yeah. It's the same thing every goddamn time. And I cannot be the only person that is just simply sick of it. You know why that'll keep going up there? Because it's not in Iowa. Because it didn't go over to the Dakotas. Because it didn't spill east. So they're like, yeah, go ahead, destroy your own town. You got, Tim Waltz up there. Tim doesn't care. Tim is complicit. No. Tim is complicit. And when, why he's not going to run for re-election? Because I guarantee you that all that Somali child care money, I guarantee you if you track if you track that all the way, I guarantee you there's some sitting in his bank account. If you got nothing to hide, Tim, then just show the records, right? Open the books. Isn't that what you said about Trump over and over and over? If you got nothing to hide, Tim, then there's no reason that you can't open every single aspect of your life to public scrutiny. For fuck's sake, you're a governor. It should be that way anyway. You should be beyond critique, but you're not. So I'm just saying a lot of this stuff looks bad. And the fact that he's not running for re-election gives me a clear indication why this shit is allowed to proceed. Why it is just going the way it's going. I know he called up the state troopers to get out and say, okay, we've got to quell this. But I guarantee you it's after Trump said either you stop it or I'm going to stop it. And if he sends in the Marines, if he sends in the Army, if he uses the Insurrection Act, guys, we are not a scalpel. I am a 26-year Navy veteran. Jeff out there is a 23-year Air Force veteran. That's almost in the military. Ha! I'm still going to take a dig at him. Fuck Jeff. But what I'm saying is, guys, we are not a scalpel. We are not surgical. We are a broadsword. And you will not believe the wrath that will come down on top of you. You think you're going to get up in those faces? My young sailors, my young soldiers, we're all joint forces now, and get up there and spill all of your hate and your vitriol, all that other stuff, and you are not going to get a response out of that person. I promise you, you're going to get a response, and I also promise you that you're not going to like it. Stop poking the bear. You want to protest, man. Knock yourself out. But I would love to know the why of it. I would love to know the why. Because all these people are doing is looking for a reason, and it could be anything. It could be anything. You know what's funny, Bell? What I find funny is Obama deported 3 million people. They literally called him the deporter in chief. 3 million people were deported from this country during the Obama administration. How many protests did you see, Bell? How many did you see? How about you guys? How many protests did you see when Obama was doing it? Because it's just kind of funny how it only bothers you now because Orange Man do it. But when Obama did it, it was necessary. The kids in cages, remember all that stuff? They tried to spin that shit up again under Trump. Remember who started that? Obama. That's who started it. And I just want consistency. That's all I want. I don't care if you want to protest. I don't care if you want to burn your town up. I don't fucking live there. Light it up. I don't care. But I just want consistency. So you were either for this always or you were against this always. But it seems like you cherry pick. You got government cover. You got better apps now for command and control because this is an organized resistance and organized insurrection. I'm going to get to my part. Belle had her say. I'm going to get to mine. But with all of that coming together, at least be consistent. Because right now, all you're doing is chasing the lights. I swear, people have too much money funding these groups and say, go ahead, just burn shit up. Go, have fun. Don't worry, we got plenty of money. We'll take care of it. And that's
a lot of people were using Minnesota as an excuse to protest here. Okay. You know,
in Iowa,
in
Belle.
Iowa,
We don't.
Iowa.
Do you know why I live in Iowa, Belle? Did you ever ask me that?
I did.
Because that shit doesn't happen here. That's why I live in Iowa. Everybody's armed. We're very polite, and that shit doesn't happen here. That's why I live in Iowa. We have police force that literally bury people out in the cornfields. All right, we'll never find that body, and you are absolutely right. Troublemakers go away here in Iowa. That's why I pay the taxes. That's why I live here. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish your thought, Belle.
No. But okay. So you guys are up in arms about ICE and the situation in Minnesota. Okay. Whatever. But I will say protesting with signs held up at the venue where Trump is speaking. Okay, yeah, great. But for you knuckleheads who are sitting there trying to tell everyone who might be hot-headed that, oh, ICE is staging at the corner of 86th Street and Hickman Road, when without paying attention to the markings on the vehicles in the parking lot, and I got stuck in that on my way back to my place, I got a really good look. So I am very well aware that those were auxiliary Clive Police Department officers. Okay, that's what those vehicles are, not ICE.
And you know what?
If you sit there and you are trying to stir up crap, which could easily get those officers and their families targeted, we've got a problem.
Well, let's expand on this just a little bit, guys. I'm getting to my bet. All right, and again, it's I think it's surmised really, really well. You can be the judge of that. But look, there is a massive difference between a protest, peaceful protest of any kind, I don't care, and obstruction. And what you're doing is obstruction. Belle, do me a favor when I'm reading mine. Pull up Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, and in it is determined the rules of naturalization and immigration. It is literally mentioned in there. I would just love you to read that verbatim, because when we're talking about this is a federal responsibility, because I can go from Iowa to Nebraska to Minnesota. I don't have to show ID to cross a border there. But I do at the north, south, east, and west of the country. I do have to show ID. It is literally in the Constitution. This is a federal thing. And when you go to obstruct people, and I'm no fan of the police, I dare you. Look back on 8 years of videos that we put out and we don't take down anything. And tell me when I was rah-rahing for the police force. I want the government as far away from me as possible. And the way that I do that is that I simply don't break the law. And in this case, we're not going to have a lot of run-ins unless I'm speeding or something like that. And then, of course, I see the reds and blues. My spine goes cold like everybody else's. But I am no fan of that. But I am a big fan of the Constitution, and it says what it says. And if you don't like it, there's a goddamn process. That's all that I'm getting at in this. Don't even get me started. I was going to do a whole big bit on the Virginia thing. I know that's starting to make the rounds again with the whole, everything's an assault weapon now. I was going to do a whole big bit on that, but I skipped that because there's no way that they can enforce it.
I am going to point out that, to fly from one state to another, we do have to show ID so we can get on the plane.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I agree, but that's airline policy. It doesn't matter.
It is.
What I'm getting at is that if I was to walk from Des Moines into Omaha, I don't have to show ID anywhere along that line. No, I don't have to show ID. So the fact that ICE exists, Immigration Customs Enforcement, is what they're doing and how they're doing it and all that. This is a federal responsibility. This is they're not doing you a favor. This is their job. And you're not going to hear me bitch about the government actually doing their job because they do it so infrequently that I'm thrilled when they're actually doing something that they have a constitutional mandate to do. And in this case, there is one. Look, it ain't that hard. There is a process. Bell, let me ask you a simple question. Is there a process for a non-U.S. citizen to become a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
What? How is that possible? How could there possibly be a process? I mean, that's absolute madness right there. We should just open up everything and let everybody in. Let me go Milton Friedman for you guys for a second here. 1 second. No society can exist, and it never has throughout the history of mankind, that has an open border and a welfare state. They cannot coexist. We have it, and take a look at Minnesota. Take a look at L.A. Take a look at Seattle. Take a look at Oregon. Take a look at the East Coast. That's what you get when you have an open border and a welfare state. I don't even have to expand on that. I got a hunch you kind of get my point. Anyway, real quick, Bell, questions, comments, concerns. I got another song queued up. It's a good one. I like this one. And then I'm going to have my say. So go ahead, Bell.
All right. So a lot of these are coming from Political. In Minnesota, how many people have to be hurt to cover up the fraud that was perpetuated?
19, Jeff. The answer is 19. So track how many actually have been seriously injured or killed. And when we get to 19, then we know. So hope that answered the question. I have no fucking idea, Mel, but I get his point. Go ahead.
All right. So Sigya fan, word in the Twitterverse is that the new signal gate for the rioters and politicians plus donors to the protesters is being leveraged to threaten them.
And that wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me even a little bit. The funniest thing is that the best tech that they could possibly use to pull off this coup that they seem to have government support for is Sigya. That's the funny thing. That's the funniest part about it. We're not going to geo-block Minnesota. We're not going to do it, but we could. But we're not going to geo-block Minnesota or LA or Seattle or anything like that. But the best communication platform that they could possibly use to coordinate, which is what they're doing, command and control at C2, is actually ours. That would be the best thing that they could use. That'd be funny. Wouldn't that be funny? I'd dine on that. It's like, look, man, we don't take sides, man. We just provide privacy, and everybody deals. I'm using that as a little plug. That's funny. All right, go ahead, Bill.
All right. So Political again. If this was Yellowstone, someone would have already been taken to the train station.
I got to ask you about that, Jeff. I was cruising. I think it was Paramount. Is that Paramount Network? It doesn't matter. But I was cruising that and I saw like 7 or 8 different versions of those. And I see Kevin Costner as someone. Do I need to watch that? I guess that's what I'm getting at. Do I need to watch that? I finished up Landman season 2, and I'm on Fallout season 2 right now. But I'm always looking for one of those good long running series. And I'm on season 10 of Walking Dead, and it sucks. I'm done. I watch it just because I've come through 10 years of this. I want to see how it ends. But I'm like, do I need to watch that, Jeff? I guess that's what I'm asking you that question. Do I need to watch Yellowstone? It's nothing can have that many spinoffs without having a level of popularity. That's what I'm getting at. Anyway, please answer that question, Jeff. Bell, carry on. One more, and then I'm going to play a song. Then I'm going to do my bit.
Top Cat, I trust very little of what I see in the quick social media posts as full truth in either direction.
And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. If you want to be lied to, open any social media app. All right. Assume everybody on there has an agenda. I post on social media. I post on Twitter and stuff like that. And yeah, I assure you I have an agenda. Now, my agenda happens to be privacy, which I think is a very, very good agenda. But everybody out there has one. Everybody wants to be internet famous. And they will tell the bigger the lie, the more people that will swallow it. That's it. When you lie that boldly in the face of everything. Belle, what color is my shirt? What color is my shirt?
I mean, it's kind of a light blue.
No, it's red. It's red. It's a video thing. It's actually a red shirt. I'm a little shocked that you have this color blindness that seems to be affecting you because this is actually a red shirt. Maybe we should look into that. What other issues do you have way deep down? I can get Dr. Lee on here and we can start plumbing those depths, because if you can't tell that this is a red shirt, I want to say that this is more of a you problem than a me problem. I mean, should we really get into this? Belle, tell me about the lambs, Belle. Tell me about the lambs. Tell me about when you hear the screaming of the lambs. What does that really do to you? All the way down, huh? Tell me about it. Do it. I'm very good at this, by the way.
There are some things that need to be kept between me and my shaman.
Okay, you and your shaman. All right, guys, so appreciate it. We'll get to everything. We're not here to talk at you. We're here to talk with you, and we will get to all of those. Please disagree with me. I promise you I have a lot more fun with anybody who disagrees with any of my viewpoints. And I promise you, you go to the very top of the list. When we're doing politics, liberals go right to the damn top. So I would love to hear from you. I promise you I will be gentle. All right. I'm not going to beat the hell out of you the way I did with Bell. But I do want to discuss this Minnesota thing. It is insulting. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it right there. It is absolutely insulting. It should be insulting to any rational, logical person that exists inside of this country. And I'm going to make my case after this. But before we do, got to play a song directly from the KPOD label. This is one of my favorites. I AI'd this one, but they nailed it. I hope you enjoy. And we will be right back on the political side of the podcast right here on the KPOD network. Please stand by.
The train keeps calling my name. We're so screaming through my veins. Steel tracks hum like a beast in pain. Feel it deep. Feel it deep. Feel it deep. Smoke on the wind, I breathe it in. Ashes on my tongue, tastes like sin. Oh, that train whistle blues takes my heart, takes my shoes. Oh, that train whistle blues. What's a girl gotta lose? Dust in my hair face in a shadow, man. Run to it, run to it, run to it. Wheels grind hard on rusted steel. Every turn cuts deeper, I can't heal. Oh, that train whistle blues burns my soul, burns my truth. Oh, that train whistle blues. What's a girl gotta prove?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kids, welcome back to the podcast. I'm not hearing it, GD Cheerios. I saw it. Braden, stop hiding behind monikers, man. You're part of a C Corp now, all right? You can use your name. It sounds fine up here. I turned it down 10%, all right? That's it. I'm not changing every goddamn thing. You have no idea how wrapped this audio is, man. Different things that I got going on in here. There's a lot, and I'm not going to keep, I don't want to change it back and forth. So anyway, I got to say my bit here. Jason, before I really get going, and you're going to see which part you should cut and clip for a video. I went with mine as opposed to yours, not because I didn't like yours, but because I really, really wanted to hit the gas tonight. We're back in our kind of our political world now, and I am incredibly opinionated because I'm incredibly passionate about it. I don't want to run things. I don't want to be in office. I just want the people who are getting paid to do their fucking job and maybe read the Constitution. The funny thing is, it's not that hard. It's not that long. It's not like reading War and Peace. All right. You can read it on the toilet and get pretty well caught up with everything. And all I want is for government to stick to what they're supposed to be doing. And all I want is for all of these bored protest douchebags to just fuck off. That's really all I want. So with that being said, this is going to be, I'll give you your trigger warning now for those of you who live on that side of the aisle. And if you do, really, man, what are you doing here? All right, because I assure you I'm incredibly biased and I have picked my side. So you're going to know exactly which part to clip, Jason, and we're going to trigger that up there in 3, in 2, in 1. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight, I want to talk to you about something that's unfolding right before our eyes, something the mainstream media might downplay as protests or civil unrest. But let's call it what it is. It's an insurrection. Not the kind that's a one-off riot or a spontaneous gathering, but a coordinated, funded, and supported effort to undermine federal authority, disrupt law enforcement, and challenge the very rule of law in our country. This is happening right now in Minnesota, a state that's become ground zero for resistance against President Trump's immigration enforcement policies. We're not talking about peaceful demonstrations here. These are violent clashes, thefts of federal property, and direct confrontations with agents enforcing the law. And shockingly, it appears to have the backing of elements within the state government itself. Now, I've structured this around the classic 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why, plus the how, because understanding the mechanics of this chaos is crucial. I'm going to cite specific incidents and name names. This isn't hyperbole. This is reality in January 2026. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, first, who's behind this? The primary actors are far-left activists, anarchist groups, and protesters aligned with anti-ICE and pro-immigration causes. Groups using Antifa-style tactics have been on the front lines, clashing with federal agents. For instance, massive clashes erupted in Minneapolis where rioters faced off against ICE officers, leading to arrests and thick clouds of tear gas in the U.S. In the U.S., not in Nigeria, not in Venezuela, in Minneapolis. But it's not just autonomous crowds or anonymous people. Key figures in Minnesota's government are implicated in supporting or enabling this. Governor Tim Walz has activated the Minnesota National Guard not to quell the unrest. Listen up, I'm going to say it again. Not to quell the unrest, but reportedly to protect residents from federal law enforcement. You heard me right. State troops potentially standing against federal agents. Walz ordered the Minnesota State Patrol to use maximum force against certain protesters, but only after pressure from the Trump administration and amid allegations that his administration was complicit in earlier escalations. Now it gets interesting here. Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan and state representatives have been accused in social media reports of leading or fueling the insurrection, and this one actually has legs. Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis has been called out for allowing the chaos to fester, with critics saying he and Walz want this disruption. They need this disruption. And let's not forget Representative Ilhan Omar, whose district is in the very heart of this, and who's been vocal, incredibly vocal, against deportations. Some posts suggest her influence is rallying opposition. Even celebrities have been urging opposition to ICE funding, which some tied to broader interference. Now, on the funding side, whispers of external support from various groups have surfaced. These aren't random people. They're organized with leaders from local politics to activist networks. Now, what exactly is happening? This isn't a peaceful protest. It's escalated to violence, destruction, and direct sabotage of federal operations. I spent 26 years doing this. I know what I'm looking at. Protesters have stormed government offices, like incidents where leftists rushed Tim Walz's office after he reportedly caved to Trump on deportations. You can never be left enough for these people. They've broken into ICE vehicles, stealing guns and sensitive documents, turning what could have been a demonstration into outright theft and potential armament. Clashes have involved harassment of agents, impeding deportations, and even physical confrontations where protesters are out of control, forcing federal responses with tear gas and arrests. A general strike saw hundreds of thousands march in sub-zero temperatures, shutting down businesses in an ice out action ICE out action. There were incidents of storming locations and interfering with operations, labeled by some as an insurrection against order. And in a bizarre twist, various groups clashed, adding layers to the chaos. Federal agents have been involved in shootings, like the killing of Renee Nicole Good and another involving Alex Preddy. Both incidents igniting the powder keg. This has led to weeks of unrest, with continued immigration raids amid the protests. Now, when did this start? The timeline traces back to early January 2026, not that damn long ago. The fatal shooting of Renee Good by an ICE agent on January sparked initial protests. By mid-January, further shootings and clashes escalated things, with live coverings of confrontations. Protests intensified around January 15th to the 17th, with Trump threatening the Insurrection Act. Key events unfolded through the month, including a massive general strike on January 23rd, drawing thousands in freezing cold. Now, as of today, January 27th, 4 days later, the unrest continues, with posts about ongoing insurgency and calls for action. Guys, this isn't fading. It's entering its third week and then some. Now, where is this taking place? I told you I'm covering all 5 of the W's, primarily in Minneapolis, the epicenter of resistance. Marches through downtown, clashes at memorials like the site of Renee Good's death. It spreads to St. Paul and other areas, statewide, with the general strike affecting businesses all the way across Minnesota. Protests at City Hall, outside Waltz's office, and in residential areas where ICE raids occur. Now, compared to other states, Minnesota's confrontations spiked after the shooting, making it stand out. Now, why are they doing this? 5 W's here, guys. At its core, opposition to Trump's expanded immigration crackdown, mass deportations of criminal, illegal aliens. Let me say that one more time. Just want to make sure that I'm clear. Mass deportations of criminal, illegal aliens. The shootings of individuals by federal agents fueled outrage, turning it into a broader fight against dictatorship and ISIS tactics, as some protesters call it. Ideologically, it's rooted in far-left resistance to border security, with claims that ICE is overreaching. What about government support? Critics argue Tim Walz and see this as a way to defy Trump. And that's why they're doing it. Stop being stupid. It's about power, state versus federal, and protecting sanctuary policies. Finally, how is this being executed? With clear command and control. Professional anarchists coordinate via social media, as seen in real-time posts organizing harassment. I'm going to say that one more time. I want to make sure that my context is perfectly clear. Anarchists coordinate via social media, as seen in real-time posts organizing harassment. So what about the training? There are reports of emboldened groups using tactics like vehicle break-ins, which suggest preparation. Coordination is evident in the statewide strike, timed actions, and targeted disruptions. But it always comes back to funding, doesn't it? Speculation points to union leaders. I have no opinion on that. And external sources. I have very strong opinions on that. With the strike backed by labor groups. Government support manifests in Walz's guard activation and delayed police response. This has all of the elements: strategy, resources, and political cover. Folks, this is an insurrection by any definition. Organized resistance to federal law with violence and state complicity. President Trump has threatened the Insurrection Act, and rightly so. We need action to restore order. Minnesota's uprising isn't about justice. It's about defiance. So all I can say, guys, is stay vigilant, please. And thank you for listening. What do you think, Belle? Did I make my point? Do I need to go harder? Because I can go so much harder.
All right. So you did it. That was well done.
Thank you.
Now, you
Thank you.
asked me, and actually it feeds right into the very thing you asked me to look up before we went to break.
Immigration and naturalization?
Yes, actually.
Go ahead
Now,
and read it.
well, hang on.
All right.
So Trump is getting blamed for deporting all these immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes, they are being deported. However, Article 1, Section 8 applies here, and I will read this line by line. That way there is no doubt, and then give a little extra tidbit that might make some people think here a little bit. Okay? So, Article 1, Section 8 is literally powers of Congress. This applies for my viewpoint later. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States, but all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States.
Crystal
It
clear.
says what it says.
Yep.
Crystal clear. Congress shall have the power to borrow money on the credit of the United States.
Says what it says.
Says what it says.
Yeah. Pretty clear.
The Congress shall have the power to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and with the Indian tribes.
Let me jump in there for just a second. Anytime you guys hear interstate commerce clause, it comes from, the third in Article 1, Section 8. That's what the interstate commerce clause is. Carry on, Belle.
Yes, and it is a power of Congress.
Yup.
Anyway, so the Congress shall have power to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and uniform laws on the subject of bankruptcies throughout the United States. The piece that applies there is they have the power to establish a uniform rule of naturalization.
Which is very, which is very, very interesting, Belle, because that is a federal law, which actually, and I've been real clear here, and I've been very, very consistent here. I am no fan of the federal government. I'm no fan of state government. I'm no fan of government at all. I'm not an anarchist. I think government should be small, local, and limited in scope, period. Government should be afraid of the people. People should not be afraid of the government. That is absolutely true. And we are not in that state anymore. And as soon as you start being afraid of your own government, that means the guns are pointing in. That means the guns are no longer pointing out. They're pointing in. And we're in that state, and we've been in that state for a good 15, 20 years now, probably longer, but we didn't give so much of it. Social media was not as prevalent as it is today that it was 20 years ago, so we didn't know about all this shit. But I'm no fan. But when the government is actually doing what they're empowered to do, I have no particular grief with that, because that's your job. And we continue to use the term, they are deporting immigrants. They're not deporting immigrants. They are deporting people who should not even fucking be here. They are deporting illegal immigrants. And for fuck's sake, can we at least that out there? Because we keep saying that we're going with the person who came over here legally 25 years ago, has an ID, speaks English, and actually integrated with American society, that they're going after that person. And they're not. They're going to maybe stop them, sure. The same way that they're going to stop you or me and say, let me see your ID. If you don't believe me, do 85 and a 35 and see how long it takes before someone stops you and says, let me see your goddamn ID. Stop trying to make mountains out of molehills. This is very, very simple stuff. Are you legally authorized to be in the United States? No? Well, here's your fucking bus ticket home. This shit is not that hard. Language is powerful. And media is powerful. And they are going out of their way to make you know, or to make sure that you know that the person who is getting deported is somebody who came over here legally, who's been in the country for 45 fucking years, doesn't even have an accent anymore, but that's who they're going after. That ain't who they're going after. They're going after the people who should not be here in the first place, which is actually a power of the federal government ratified in the Constitution of the United States of America. I cannot have an issue with that. I've got to be consistent. If they go after me and they say, show me your ID, I'm pulling out their retired military ID and they're going to say, thank you and move along. I have no issue with that. None. If you do, that's a you thing. That's a you thing. But I don't have to live by your standard. If they stop me and say, show me your ID, I fucking will. Because I don't want trouble. But the people who cannot produce one, in this day and age, you simply cannot produce an ID. I remember all that voter ID shit that they've been throwing around. Well, black people don't have ID. Are you retarded? I mean, are you that far out of your mind that you think because a person happens to be black as opposed to white that they have no capability of getting an ID, some form of ID? You're out of your goddamn mind. And I'm just so sick of the lines that people keep drawing out here that saying that it's it. We're all in a box. We're all in our own little box and we only live in our own little world and we can't escape it. I'm just sick to death of this. These are people who shouldn't be here. If they shouldn't be here in the federal government, I'm no fan. But if the federal government is empowered to remove them, then fucking remove them and just get it done. You want to come into the country? Come into the goddamn country. Follow the process. This shit is not hard. I don't get it. Why do we... All right. Anyway, I'm sorry, Belle. You got your finger up. Go ahead.
I do. Now, I will say, okay, yeah, again, uniform rule of naturalization. That means you can become a citizen if you come here. There is a process that applies to everybody, though. And I mean everybody.
Everybody. Skin color be damned. It applies equally to everyone.
If you don't feel that the process is fair and just, talk to your representatives, because like everything else within the Constitution, changes can be made. And there are some things in the Constitution that actually should be changed. So advocate for it if you believe that strongly in it.
We have a process. Now, I will disagree with you, Belle, on one thing, because that's kind of our thing here, is to make sure that we disagree on occasion. If you're here illegally, you don't have a representative because you shouldn't be here anyway. And you can't vote. You shouldn't be allowed to vote. Think about that. Think about that. All of these states with no ID voting law. I want you to think about that for a minute. It doesn't matter what you think. Your state representatives are coming out and saying, nah, you don't need ID to vote. You need one to borrow a book from the library. You need one to drive a car. You need one virtually every aspect of your life except to appoint your leaders. Now, I'm a big fan of Occam's razor, Bell. You know I'm a big fan of Occam's razor. And usually the simplest explanation is the most correct. They promise everything to illegals to come to this state, to come to this city, to come to this town, to come to this whatever, and make sure you vote for us, and we will make sure that you're taken care of. That is absolute fucking fact. And that is the truth. We can gloss this over with a lot of $2 words. We can continue to do that. Or we can just look at this as simple fact and say, the thing that is most important to me is to maintain my authority over other humans. I am the gardener and you're the garden. So I want to make sure you vote for me. I will make sure that you are well taken care of. Which one of these seems more likely? That a human in the United States cannot find any method of getting a authorized ID card, or they simply want to make sure that you can vote so that they can keep your job. Which one seems more likely, Bell? You can answer it. That's okay. We all know.
The latter, of course.
Well, duh. So all the rest of this is simply...
And Deep House Nation chiming in. As a lifelong member of the Black delegation, I can confirm we do indeed have ID.
No, surely not. I'm going big screen just for you, brother. No. Surely you can't, because there is this massive restriction on people who don't look like me getting identification, like a driver's license or a goddamn library card or anything that will make your life function here in this country. Surely that cannot be the case, brother. There's no way. I read social media. I listen to every single word that CNN and MSNBC and all of these other networks spit out. And it is impossible for somebody who doesn't look like me. You notice how I'm notice how I'm dancing through the raindrops there, brother? That's what I do, man. But it's impossible for anybody who doesn't kind of look like me to get an ID card. So I will call your comment ludicrous. I will give you a round of applause for encouraging that. And I'll turn it back over to Bell, man. Go, Bell.
I mean, I don't think his comment doesn't look like a rapper named Ludacris. I mean, come on.
He's out of his mind, man. He's what? I'm not going to even go there. Go ahead, Bell.
All right. So, Idiot Fish. Yeah, education on flashbangs having a delay has occurred.
I saw that video, man. I know which one you're talking about right there. As somebody who has personally pulled, armed, and primed flashbangs, don't pick them up, man. All right, you get away from them. This shit isn't hard. All right, if a pineapple grenade lands in your midst, unless you want that, you want that metal, get away from it. And that seems to be the case. But maybe that they should add that into their training regiment, whatever they're doing, that when a flashbang lands, you got about a second and a half to get the fuck away from it. Don't pick it up. All right, this is it's not a 4, 5, 6 second fuse on those things. We literally pop them, pull them, hold them, count 1, 2, and then we toss them, because fully half of the fuse has been burned up. And whether they detonate on the ground or in your midst before it hits the ground, it doesn't matter. But I did see that video. That was funny. I'm sorry. I was like, have you never watched a movie ever that had any kind of action element in it? Because that was about the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Kick it away. I'm not going to give them tips. I'm not going to teach them what we're actually trained to do. If you can't get away, kick it away. That's it. Don't touch it. All right. And make sure that your boots look something like this. All right. If you're out there in flip-flops, you're going to have a bad day. Just leaving that out there. Go ahead, Bill.
I mean, these are the same people that are going to miss the label that says point toward enemy.
Point toward enemy. It's funny. I was watching I never watched those modern crime shows because I'm no fan of government. I'm not a fan of the FBI, the CSI, or any. I'm not a fan of any of this shit. But that was their whole thing. Is they saw one and the girl picked up the phone and called, "Get away! There's an IED." I'm like, "It's not an IED. It's a fucking claymore. Surely you've seen one before. That you know what this is." But you know what the front of it is? It says front towards enemy. Or point toward, it used to say point towards enemy. Now it says front towards enemy, which is actual proof that the official language of the United States military is English, because on the back of it, it says back. You're okay. Yeah, it's amazing to me. Anyway, carry on, Belle.
I was about to make a bad joke about the official language being crayon, but you know,
we make it as simple as I can. There's a video. There's actually a video that they show us. It's horrifying. Some hayseed that was out there in boot camp, and they were on the Claymore range, and that's where we learned to arm and detonate claymores. And for some reason, this fucking hayseed stuck the blasting pin in his mouth, and he was chewing on it like a piece of straw. And we saw the before and after. And the after is his whole bottom of his mouth is just completely gone. Because apparently, I mean, look, they're impact detonators. All right, doesn't take much to set these things off. And chewing on it like it's a piece of straw will detonate it. And it blew and here's the worst part: he survived. No part of it actually ruptured the brain when that thing fragmented. No part of it ruptured any. I think he got partial frontal lobotomy and his whole jaw is gone, but he survived it. I was saying, if you're going to bite onto a Claymore detonator, you might hope, you'd be better off if it took your whole goddamn head off. I'm just saying. It's Jeff. I know you've seen that. I guarantee that Jeff has seen that. Anyway, I'm sorry. Get back to it, Belle.
That's actually it for the moment.
Beautiful. Then we can go ahead and wrap it up. We're going to be going hard here, guys, over the next few weeks. And believe it or not, all of this is related to Sigia Cloud. If you guys haven't heard of Sigia Cloud, SigiaCloud.io, please give it a try. But we're going to be going very, very hard over here. I would love to sit over here and continue to talk about Cosmos crypto. But I will ask you, and you still got time to comment before we cut, what would you like me to talk about? Who is shutting down next? Who rugged who? What would you like me to talk about? We could continue to do all of that, or we can actually move into the real world, because the app that we are developing, and we have two absolute aces on the team right now. That's Aaron Rivas and Josh. So I can continue to do that, or I can actually push forward into something positive. Now, what is this going to do for the people who are left on here? Jackal's going to be in a good place. We got you. The more successful we are, the more successful they are. It's very, very binary at this point. So if you're tuning in for that, we'll make sure that you get all the information that you need. But if not, we're going to talk about what we're passionate about. And I don't know if you can tell, because this is probably more talking than Belle's done up here in 8 years. We're very, very passionate about this. So again, Minnesota is about defiance. Stay vigilant, America. Thank you for listening. Turning it over to Belle. She's going to talk us up, take us out of here. I had a wonderful time. Please join us tomorrow. We are just getting started. Go, Belle.
All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who joined us this evening, we cannot say thank you guys enough. We do appreciate each and every one of you guys and the comments and questions you send our way. Now, with that being said, we are going to be back on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. In between now and tomorrow, if you guys have any other comments, questions, or concerns, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to either Scott or myself, Scott@thepodcast.com or Bella@thepodcast.com, and we'll get those answered for you. Again, we can't thank you enough, guys, and we'll see you next time.